Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to this presentation on GitLab's JavaScript style guide. My name is Brandon Labuskachny, and I'm a senior front-end engineer at GitLab. What we'll cover today: what is a style guide, where to find GitLab's JavaScript style guide, how we ensure that our style guide is followed, a few of our style guide suggestions, and how to improve our style guide. Firstly, what is a style guide? A style guide is a collection of rules that define how code should be written and organized. It also serves as a collection of best practices and solutions to known issues. It could be considered a blueprint for how code should look within an organization. As you can see from the screenshots below, this could cover items such as where braces are situated in an if statement. Where to find GitLab's JavaScript style guide. GitLab's JavaScript style guide can be found in the front-end development documentation. A link has been provided to this below. It's based on the Airbnb style guide, which is extremely extensive and covers almost every topic you can think of. How we ensure that our style guide is followed. Linting is the process of running software which analyzes code, detecting errors based on predefined rules. Linting tools can be configured to automatically correct or fix detected errors. ESLint is linting software specifically built for JavaScript. We make use of ESLint as our primary tool in ensuring that our style guide is followed. It's extendable, allowing for custom rules to be configured. Our ESLint configuration can be found at the following link. ESLint can be run locally during development. It can also be integrated into your Git workflow. It can highlight and often fix problems before code is committed to your branch. This can be done manually or via a pre-commit hook. As you can see in the screenshot, the browser is complaining about the import order of the specific line. There's an ESLint rule configured which specifies that imports should occur in a certain order based on the location of the import. Pretty is a code formatter for JavaScript files. It ensures basic syntax consistency for items such as quotes, braces, and spacing. It can be configured in a code editor to automatically format files on save. It can also be run via command line. In GitLab, thanks to CI/CD, ESLint and Pretty have been configured to run in a pipeline after code has been pushed to a branch. This job will fail if it detects any errors. This is a safeguard in case these tools won't run locally. Additional information on running ESLint or Pretty locally can be found in our tooling guide. Another way in which we ensure that our style guide is followed is via code review. Each merge request undergoes 2 rounds of review, an initial review and a maintainer review. Code review is aimed at catching bugs and improving code quality, but also serves as a great tool in detecting styling issues which weren't detected by ESLint. A few of our style guide suggestions. Avoid forEach when mutating data. This minimizes mutations in functions, which can sometimes cause hard-to-find bugs. Instead, use JavaScript functions such as map, reduce, or filter. These don't mutate the targeted object, but instead return a new object, which minimizes the potential for side effects. Limit the number of parameters passed to a function. If your function has more than 3 parameters, use an object instead. This is specifically useful when you pass in multiple parameters to a function and you don't necessarily want to consider the order, and you might potentially not be passing some of the parameters through. If a CSS class has only been used in JavaScript as a reference to the element, prefix the class name with js-. This makes it very easy to see which classes are being used only for JavaScript and which are actually being used in CSS for styling. It also makes it very easy to search for a CSS class and find where that class is being used to mount a JavaScript application or any logic in JavaScript files. Avoid single-line conditional statements. Indentation is important when scanning code as it gives a quick indication of the existence of branches, loops, and return points. This can help to quickly understand the control flow of the code. Avoid adding to the global namespace. Adding to the global namespace could result in conflicts. It's difficult to track objects which have been added to the global namespace, and it also pollutes the entire JavaScript environment. Prefer local imports and definitions where possible. Improving our style guide. Style guide changes are generally discussed at a department level via request for comments. Here's a link to our request for comments project. As our code base is open source, these discussions don't need to originate from a GitLab team member. Everyone can contribute. That concludes the overview of GitLab Style Guide. I hope that this is informative and gives you a little bit more insight how to keep code looking consistent at scale.